Okay, actually I lied a little bit. We missed a, very tiny bit of audio, but I'll continue right now.
Men, damned orcs shot me off course. I've had no word from Leandros, but I'm picking up Vox chatter from Imperial Guard forces on the ground.
I scarcely thought anyone would be left alive, much less still fighting.
Heading towards the front lines now.
I will meet you there.
So, whenever they're talking on the Vox, Titus walks really slowly. I don't know whether that's to mask loading times or what. So now, as you may tell, we're on the Forge World of Cryo, where the Orcs have invaded, and attempting to loot the Titans. In case you couldn't tell from that intro movie rather, the Titans are basically giant mechs. Here I'm using the, I don't remember quite what it's called, but it's basically like aiming down the sides. Now, there are collectibles in Space Marine, the servo skulls. However, once you collect them, they disappear from the game entirely. And I'm missing only about 8, so I'd rather not dick around and find the rest of them. This is where we will find our weapons and other goodies. In this case, we get the bolter, which is apparently a battle rifle, despite shooting miniature rocket-propelled grenades.
This way, boys.
I don't think the bolter does quite as much damage per shot as the pistol, because the pistol is a bigger caliber, but it does have the advantage of being automatic. So there's always that. One thing a lot of people had complaints about in this game was the voice acting, and I have to agree. Compared to games like Retribution, the Ork voice acting is really kind of a letdown. I think the best Ork actor in the game is probably the War Boss. And that's only because he says things with a funny voice. That's kind of what the Orks do, it's their thing, you know?
Captain, destroy them!
Is this Leandros? Yes it is. We don't see, other guy yet.
They got no way out of there.
So now we're in, one of our first fights of the, or real fights of the game, I should say. As you may notice, there's no ability to hide, or there's no button that like sticks you to cover, because as a Space Marine you're a walking tank. Now whether that holds up in multiplayer is debatable, as you may have seen from my earlier videos about it. It's just me or these guys bigger? I might be crazy. By bigger, I mean like than the other shooters we fought before. So, I'm not quite certain the game has explained them yet, but when we do executions, which basically take the camera away from... Okay, I'll let this cutscene play first.
Leandros, are you wounded?
The Codex Astartes warns against using jump packs to leap blindly into enemy fire, and for good reason.
Your days as a novice are behind you. Why do you still interpret the Codex so narrowly?
I looked at its rules for guidance.
We all do. But there are also benefits to thinking for yourself, Leandros.
So for anyone not familiar with Warhammer, the Codex Astartes is this thing basically written by the guy who founded the Ultramarines that tells how all Space Marines should act. Now not every chapter follows the Codex Astartes, some like the Space Wolves are non-standard chapters. Anyway, we can execute people, and that will give us health back. Really, it's kind of a waste to use bullets on the Gretchen. Those little guys. But I don't know. I just don't know. So a little background about the Ultramarines.
Sidonus picked up local Imperial Guard communications. They survived under the shadow of that gun. I want to know how.
They are the first and foremost of the original founding chapters. They are deemed the most favored by Games Workshop, as they are often called the Ultra Smurfs, because they are blue, and it seems as though they get shoehorned into everything. What that has to do with Smurfs, I have no idea, don't ask. So now we're coming across an Imperial Guard position. As you may have been able to hear, they started calling us the Adeptus Astartes, which is the fancy name for Space Marines. So you do have little combos, like if you push the stun button at different times in the combo, you'll do different things. So Gretchen do not require a stun to be executed. Any bigger enemies do. Here's the Imperial Guardsmen, somehow fighting orcs twice their size. I think that's a Kazarkin on the heavy bolter. Not that it matters. Here's another cutscene.
My lord, you have saved us.
Rise, Guardsmen. You saved yourselves. We thought you did.
We would be, my lord, if not for the Lieutenant.
Where will we find this Lieutenant?
At the front lines. Follow the trench network to the Lieutenant's command bunker.
Carry on, Guardsmen. We rendezvous with Sidonus, then we find this Lieutenant. We need updated intel on the gun battery.
Now, of course, since Games Workshop is based in the UK, and they are the company that made Warhammer, everyone in the game speaks the Queen's English.
Against 1 million orcs, and they fight on.
No. Get off! My legs. I can't feel my legs.
Got to see a Space Marine before the end. Got him through. Watching those who fight.
The Imperial Guard are kind of a scary thing. I mean, they're fighting chaos-infected demons, insurmountable
Captain,
green
I'm in
hordes.
position
Oh
at a
god.
broken monument near the guard lines.
Sidonus, that's his name. Anyway, the Guard are basically fighting all these unknown terrors of the galaxy. And they just fight on despite being normal men. That's a lot of people respect them for that. And those orcs just spontaneously combusted, it would seem.
Sergeant, I see you found something to keep you busy.
Worry not, Captain. I've saved some orcs for you.
How nice of
Orcs
him.
have got that gun well defended, no mistake. But typical orc behavior would be to dismantle or destroy the gun.
And certainly not use it to keep our forces at bay. There's a strategy behind it. Their leader is no fool.
This day is getting interesting.
I may have encountered the Orc during our jump to the surface.
That was the orc ship I saw crash near here, I take it. Did he survive?
If the Horde hasn't turned on itself, it's still under his control.
Now we have the chainsword, which is the characteristic weapon of this Space Marine. Bolter and chainsword, if you will. Now, a nice thing about this game, you can always use your melee weapon with right-click, regardless of what weapon you have out. so you don't have to like switch to your knife, so to speak, whenever you're getting up close and personal. As you can see, the chainsword is a lot more powerful, and there's no friendly fire. However, you will hold your bolt pistol, or whatever sidearm you happen to have, while you're loitering with your melee weapon out. So having found our two squad mates here, we are apparently the only three visible space marines on the entirety of Cryo. And we're going to slaughter about 40 bajillion orcs by the time this game is over, among other things.
Target that squig!
Now, why it told us to target that squig and then didn't give us any squigs is beyond me. Ah, there they come. So obviously these are the standard kind of suicide explosion enemies. They do get a little dickish with them sometimes. But you can also use them to blow up other enemies, which is quite handy.
Look out, dropship!
Dropship, that's more like a tow truck with flight. Now we have grenades, as you may be able to see. Let's just show how those work quickly. Oh, finally some ammo. So now, since I get kind of tired of just chilling out back there, I'm going to go into the fray. As you can see, the game does do a pretty good job at letting you just go into the combat and not die.
Dropship incoming!
But it doesn't make it any less challenging. I see, now that I'm out of melee enemies down here and these shooters are all that's left. Oh, there's one. This is what I'm talking about. You can just kind of like chain Gretchens together and do a combo. I'm gonna try and eliminate as many of them as I can with my bolter before I go back into melee. Okay, but sometimes their grab is a little bit finicky. Guys, help me. Let my armor regen. So as you may have seen at the top, we do have 2 health bars. There's the health, which is in the middle, the red one. That doesn't regenerate. And then there's the armor, which surrounds it in yellow, and that does regenerate. Which is odd, because in the actual universe, I'm pretty sure it's the opposite. So here's our first Ork Nob. You obviously do not want to go toe-to-toe with him in melee, especially when you have as little health as I do. Oh shit. Kinda strange how he made a beeline for me, however. I don't know. Orcs are a lot like Mountain Blade enemies like that. Oh god, do I have to start all the way back here? I apologize for the tedium in advance, I assure you. Let's try and play a little bit more cautiously this time. Yeah, you stomp the hell out of that rogue. So the bolt pistol also works pretty well as a kind of like makeshift sniper rifle. Although there is an actual sniper rifle, I feel it is kind of useless, but there is one. I don't know what I'm looking around for. Probably more ammo. So unlike in most games where the NPCs are kind of useless, these guys will actually kill enemies. And in the case of some like us, by us I mean the other Ultramarines, I should say, they can switch to their own chainswords and just rip crap up in melee if they wish. That was a pretty good grenade. Much better than the first one. Okay, we should be getting back to the knob right about now. Yeah, here we go. Then you have to mash a button to take them down with a takedown.
Where is your command? Inside, but the door is sealed. I believe they will let us through. Imperial Guard, we are Ultramarines. Open this door.
Space Marines.
How did he hear that? Whoever it was.
Word from the second recce. Another horde of the Greenskins are headed here from the south. Damn Gretchen stabbed a knife in Saul's throat 2 months ago.
Reinforce their position, hold the line, and stay alive.
Aye, Lieutenant.
Thank the Emperor. Second Lieutenant Mira, 203rd Cadian Regiment.
Captain Titus, of the Ultramarines.
You are in command.
I'm all that's left, my lord. Unless my commanders rise from the grave. So far, they seem content to stay put.
Lieutenant, the scouts have returned to forward base.
How many?
2.
I sent out 10. That damn gun. We don't have the numbers to make an assault. And as you might have seen, it's shooting down all our support vessels.
That is why we are here. Leave the gun to us.
Come with me, then. I should warn you, my lords. We've got a slight orc problem down here.
You don't say. Anyway, I think that's where I'll end the video.